mental health, men's mental health things I wanted to do or think about, but when I was kind of thinking about it, it's tough to put a time limit on that. You can't really say like, "Hey, you have a month to do this."
That's a life challenge, my
It's
friend.
it's something that it's something I personally I know I've needed to do for a long time.
Yeah.
And with that comes just reservations, and I finally reached out to my employee assistance program, an EAP is what it's called.
Yep.
You call a phone number and you talk to someone, and they will kind of guide you through the steps into the benefits that your employer offers. I specifically was looking for mental health, opportunities.
Yep.
And it was a weird thing. It was weird.
Uncomfortable.
Yeah, because
For
when
me
they
it was.
when I called, they were like, "Oh, what it was kind of like an automated message of just like, what areas are you looking?" And you click your buttons, and then you talk to someone, and they're like, "Well, what, for your safety and to make sure going forward, do you have any thoughts of suicide or those questions as far as like, do you want to hurt yourself? Do you have those mental thoughts that you're trying to seek help for?"
Yeah.
And it's like, well, yes and no, because of course I have thoughts about like
Whether people like to admit it or not, people have those thoughts.
it sucks. I mean, it's not, and that was kind of like the thing. It was almost like, well, I knew this was coming, and it's like, how do I explain myself? It's like, yes, I do have those. I have had thoughts like that, but it's never been where I'm actually scared that I would do something.
Yeah.
And it's tough to portray that to someone or think about portraying that to someone. But I did, I made a phone call, and I talked to a woman about it. And when she first asked me, I was kind of apprehensive. I was like, and she was like, "Well, just so you know, I am like a licensed therapist, and I'm here to, help you through this process."
Which doesn't make it better.
It doesn't, but it also is like, at least I'm not talking to like a call center.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
absolutely.
it is a call center, but it's like, at least I'm not talking to John Smith, who graduated, and he's just like working a 9 to 5 because he needs whatever. And that might be the case, but at least, I don't know. It felt like after I talked through it and I mumbled and I stumbled through these thoughts I was trying to, because it was
the hardest questions you can answer as a human being.
Yeah, are what's being asked of you.
Yeah.
And it was like a stumbling, mumbling, jumbling. I don't know, maybe I think this sometimes. But I don't feel that way all the time. And it was like a word vomit of nothing really made sense, but the person made me feel comfortable. And she was able to provide like information. She was like, "Okay, well, we're going to send you an email with a list of, in-network providers, and you just, when you call them, you do your own research and look into it, and you give them this code. When you give them this code, you will get the 5 free face-to-face sessions," or whatever it is. So that was cool. Like, I was glad I did that, but I'm not trying to do that in a month. I have a year. That code that I was provided expires in a year. So I have a full year. You might need to flip it the other way.
This thing's all loose.
No. The other way. Nope. Other way. Keep going. Oh, shit. Well.
All right.
Anyway.
Keep going.
You good?
Man.
But anyway,
I'll
yeah.
figure it out, man.
No, so I think, I don't know, it wasn't like, it wasn't horrible, but it wasn't fun either. It wasn't like a super easy conversation.
Not supposed to be.
But I'm glad I did it, and I got the little code that I need to give to a therapist office, and they'll know that I get 5 free sessions.
Yeah.
So in my head, that was a victory.
That's a huge victory,
And
man.
so that's why, like, men's well, we're two dudes.
Yeah.
You know, for us, it's men's mental health. I think mental health in general, but we don't have a female woman on the show to bounce ideas or have conversations with about that with them. You know, in the future, we would love to have that.
Yeah.
But for right now, I mean, it's all we can speak about is what we experience. And right now, we're experiencing men's mental health.
Yeah.
And, you know, as much as we would love to spread the word of women's mental health and the struggles that women go through and their unique struggles,
We can't.
we just can't.
You can't.
I can't speak about it. I don't know. I can try to empathize, but I can't. I don't know. I have no idea what it's like to be a woman.
The best you can do is to give the most personal what you felt,
right,
and with what you're comfortable giving out to people. You know what I mean, man?
So I think for that, because I definitely do want to make sure that we keep in the forefront of mental health. It's really, man, last week was really hard. I don't know why. I don't know what it was about last week. There was times I just lost it. I just, throughout the day, just randomly throughout the day, I just got so overwhelmed with life and just dumb little things that didn't even need to overwhelm me, but they overwhelmed me, and you know, I got lost in those emotions, and last week was tough, and
break down, man.
You have your, it was almost like hitting emotional rock bottom, where like you throughout like months and weeks and months, you kind of have these emotional thoughts, but you kind of push them. At least for me, I push them to the side, and it's like I'm okay. They're not like that's not a thing that's affecting me right now. So I'll just push it to the side, and then it comes to a point, and it just like explodes, mentally erupts, and you can't take anymore, and you let it loose, and now it's kind of like I'm back to square one, and
it's important.
It's not fun.
The older I have gotten, the more I have realized how important it is that those moments occur in my life. The shit I've gone through just personally, through family, through friends, through loss of friends, through the loss of family, you know, I mean, at the age I'm at, I've seen handful of friends die young.
Sure.
I've seen family die old.
Right.
You know, I've experienced a lot of things that at times were new and fresh, and I didn't know how to really deal with them. Mm-hmm. And the older I get, the more I realize how much I'm trying to just stuff behind the scenes and not deal with, you know what I mean?
Right.
And like you said, you know, I hit points more often than not where my emotional forefront overtakes, you know, what I can handle, you know, and I'll hit points where I can't do anything but break down and fucking hit the lowest point of my emotional well-being.
For sure.
And as shitty as that is, as a man or even as a woman, the hardest thing for me is breaking down, crying in front of another, you know, and crying in front of people, or breaking down, and but I've also learned it's the most important thing for me, where I've gone through fucking hell and back in my life, man. I've gone through hell and back. Hell where most people don't even understand what my hell is. Sure. And I will never explain to people what my hell is. But the most important thing for me is allowing myself to hit the bottom of that.
Feel it.
And fucking breaking down, dude. And as a human being, as a man, as just the person I am, what I found is most important is allowing myself to dig myself as deep down as I can and being okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
and being okay with emotions, being okay with
Sure.
you know, as a human being, people don't understand crying is the greatest emotion we get to experience as a person. That is the most emotion I have ever felt in my life. Crying, bawling, bawling. That feeling you get when you bawl, that is pure emotion and sadness, and not necessarily just sadness, but it just that feeling of just that is your body letting out every piece of yourself.
It's a release.
It is emotional. It is what do you call it when you're it is just fucking vulnerability, and that's the scariest thing. But I'm only 20 fucking 4 years old, man. I'm young. I met reality at a very young age, and vulnerability was something I have fought for years, and it has been the most important part of my life that I have met and been okay with. Is as a man, a lot of men don't think it's okay to fucking break down in that sense, dude. And it's important to do so. You know, it's scary, it's embarrassing. It's not okay to a lot of people, but it's what you can't, the more you hold that in, that ball of emotion that you just allow to bask in your fucking soul, like the more you hold that in and just don't allow it out, dude, the darker it gets. And something I've been trying to learn and maybe not necessarily been totally on the forefront with, but like I'm allowing myself to fucking let that out. It's okay to bawl, it's okay to cry, it's okay to fucking be weak once in a while, man. Like it and even like what you said, you know, like sometimes I find myself just breaking down for no fucking reason, and it's like, where does this come from? What is this made of? Why am I doing this?
Well, and I think for me a tough thing is coming to the reality that my vulnerabilities are completely different than somebody else's.
Absolutely.
So the things that really get me down and get me depressed might not get someone else down or depressed, even the slightest. They might look at me and say, you're weak. That might be someone else looking at me saying, I'm weak. And for me, that's what makes me hold on to things and not be emotional. Is the fact that I think about it and I go, is this something I really need to be like, let my emotions get caught up in? And I tell myself, no, you got to be strong. It's okay. You're fine. Just put it aside and keep moving forward. But eventually those things that I tell myself to keep putting aside, you know, a real man wouldn't be upset about those things. But eventually those are the things that comes up and just are the things that gets to me the most. And what makes me kind of lose it or makes me feel the most shitty about myself. So I don't know. I mean, it's something I've struggled with my whole life, and I don't know, maybe like if I can just acknowledge those vulnerabilities right away and say like, yeah, I know that this is pissing me off, but I don't know, it's a weird thing because it's obviously there's things that piss you off that you have to learn and say, okay, this is not something that I should be getting this emotional about. And you move on. But then there are things where you say, okay, I shouldn't be getting this emotional about, and you try to move on, but they keep pulling you back.
And I think that's where we're talking about you getting into programs or the
Sure.
Right. I've been through the program you went through, or I not been through it. I approached it. I approached it, and it's you can't fucking do everything by yourself. You can't allow yourself where you have these thoughts where, this is something that I shouldn't get this worked up about, but I am. And you can sit there for fucking years thinking, okay, I'm mad about this, but now I'm not. You get rational, you get non-rational, and it's back and forth. And
Right.
at a point, people don't realize it's okay to get another fucking voice in there. There's people there
Right.
to talk you through it and not necessarily understand what you're going through, but to make you think why the fuck you're even thinking that.
Right.
Counselors and therapists, they're not there to tell you why you're thinking that. They're there to tell you, to give you a more understanding and opening of this is maybe why you're thinking that way.
Sure.
And, I mean, I think for me, I've gotten to a place in my life where I get at a standstill where it's like, this is not the human being I used to be.
Right.
I used to be a peaceful, nice, genuine, calm human being, and now I have these feelings in me where I don't understand why I have them.
Right.
And I don't want anybody else to know about them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the darkness in a reality, is not allowing another person to help you with that. And as scary as it fucking can be, like, I grew up in a house of counselors, man. I grew up with a father who is helping people with addiction. I grew up with a mother who helps everybody with their mental problems. But I can't go to my parents about my problems because they involve them.
Well, and that's, going back to something you said earlier, kind of like people's personal hells. Everyone has a different personal hell.
Yeah.
And yours is, you make your own out to be better or worse than someone else's. And we're constantly comparing. And we say, and it's almost like we go, well, my hell is X amount times not nearly as bad as someone else's, so I shouldn't feel this way.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't feel this way, so I shouldn't be sad. I should be happy.
Sometimes you feel like you don't deserve to feel that shitty.
Right, you don't deserve to feel sad. Exactly. That's such a good way to put it. For some reason, we feel like we don't deserve to feel sad. But we feel sad. We're humans. Humans feel sad. And, trust me, I don't get that. I still don't understand it. My whole mindset is that's like my whole life existence is I should not feel sad. But I still do. And
that's a place that will put you in a worse place, man. Like, I have grown up my whole life thinking that I am so better off than other people that I don't even deserve to feel depressed.
Exactly.
And you want to bring it to the bolds of suicide and the thoughts of suicide.
And you're just like, why?
That's a fucking topic where that's a harsh word, man. Suicide is a harsh word.
It's a hard one, man.
I had one of my best friends commit suicide.
Yep.
I fucking saw his mom the day after. All my good friends, I've seen suicide. I know what suicide is. I've dealt with it. I saved my buddy from committing suicide. Suicide was not a thing for me until I met people who really stretched that far. And I've been in that mindset. Not necessarily. Sure. No, I did. I know what I want. I want life. I want my family, dude.
Love.
But yes, I've been in that point where sometimes it gets to a point where it's like, is this fucking worth it? And luckily, who I am, I'm strong enough to know what I want.
Mm-hmm.
But I've dealt with those situations where I've seen my friends kill themselves. I have saved my friends from killing themselves. Where, not luckily, but honestly, luckily enough, it gave me the strength to talk about it.
Yeah.
And the beauty of being a human being and doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, is there's somebody out there who will understand what the fuck you're going through, or at least want to talk to you about it, dude. Like,
right.
I guarantee you, if and this is the biggest regret in my life, is my buddy got the chance to talk to me about what the fuck was going on with him. I don't think he'd be dead. But I think an importance for us to have a voice, to have a microphone, to have a platform is to tell people that thoughts of suicide or thoughts of depression are normal.
Yeah.
Talk to somebody about it.
And it's weird.
And if you don't have somebody to talk about it, we'll help you find somebody to talk about. You know, like it's. I think as dark as it gets, this is the darkest conversation me and you will have. And this isn't the dark. I've lived through it. I've fucking seen it, dude. But people need to realize you're not alone through this shit. As dark as it gets, I have found my happiest moments through the darkest parts of my life from people who have brought me up and told me, hey, you're not the only motherfucker thinking like this.
And quick to that, because I think we could talk probably for hours about this, honestly.
Man, hours.
We could talk about. But if it's twofold, right? Because like if you're listening to someone and someone brings up their darkness to you, don't bring your darkness into it. No. Listen to what they're saying and be like, you may not have answers, but you can. I shouldn't say don't bring your darkness into it, but don't try to bring answers. I guess you can say, "Oh, dude, I feel that same way. This is how I feel." I should say, bring your own darkness. Bring it with you.
Ears are a better source than a mouth.
Right. I should say, try not to bring lightness, because no one wants to hear. Well, personally, I don't want to hear someone else's success story. I don't want to hear someone be like, "Oh, I was in the same boat you were in, but this is what I did, and this is how I was successful." No. Personally, I wouldn't want to hear that. I would much rather be like, "Dude, I think about some funky, weird, bad shit too, dude." And when I start thinking about those weird thoughts, this is what helps me forget those thoughts. Not necessarily solve them or fix them, but this is what gets my mind off of them.
Sometimes saving a life, all it takes is just lending a fucking ear, man.
Yeah, and just saying like, man, I don't understand your situation, and that sounds shitty. Here's where I'm kind of coming from, and I'm here with you. Like I'm not there with you. I'm here with you, and I'm like, I don't know. You never want to hear someone be like, I'm in the same boat, because you want to be like, fuck you. You don't know my boat. But you want to hear someone be like, I'm sailing next to you.
Exactly, dude. And I think you're exactly right when you say that. For me, it's just, I'm a person who I try to be a man of less words and just more. I like to hear people. The greatest gift we were given was the ability to just comprehend what people are saying to us. You know what I mean? Like, we're not here to judge people. We're not here to tell people what to do. Nobody knows what the fuck we're going through. I have best friends who have no idea what the fuck I've lived through.
Right.
But the best part about those friends, if they just listen to me. I've watched friends lose parents. I've watched friends lose siblings. I've lost best friends. I've watched my best friends' fathers lose their kids, and the best thing I could give to them was just listening to them and just
genuine ear.
And I living through that and seeing it is the biggest regret. Is I didn't give a big enough ear. It was judgment. It was constantly trying to compare. Well, yeah, you're going through this, but I understand I'm going through this. Nah, fuck that. You're going through this. All right, let me hear what you're going through. I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to tell you what you should do or should not do, but I want you to know I fucking hear you. And the best thing you can say is, if you ever need somebody to talk to, fucking talk to me, dude. Like, that's the biggest regret in my life is not giving a big enough ear. And obviously, I couldn't have saved any lives, but just be there to listen. Don't compare yourselves. Everybody, even the richest human being in this fucking earth, the person who seems the happiest, the person who lives in the mansion on the top of the hill, the person who lives on the lake, the person who has family and kids and friends, has the darkest demons you've ever seen.
Right.
But you just don't hear about it. Listen, open your ears, just allow just listening to somebody. People, criticism is is a nightmare. Criticism is the path to evil. It just allowing somebody to talk to you is the biggest thing you could ever give a human being. And a lot of people, this is a conversation that suicide is a conversation people don't want to talk about. All right? It's not. People don't want to talk about it. People don't want to talk about depression. I've lived enough through it where I'm done not talking about it. I can't keep it in anymore. It's fucking strangled me for a lot of my life. You know what I mean?
And yeah, dude, for real, because it's like I remember being a kid and feeling like I think I'm depressed, but being like, but I can't be because I'm 16 years old and I have two parents who love me. Like, I shouldn't be depressed. Like,
exactly, man.
I shouldn't feel this way, right? And like in my head, this is like what I'm telling myself. Like, I'm not right. Like, if I am, I'm weak. And you kind of like, for me, I've gone through life thinking that, like, can't be depressed. I've got this going for me, and it like I have so many things in my life going for me that 99% of the population would literally kill to have.
You can be blessed and you can be depressed at the same time.
But for some reason, it's like there's still these thoughts and these emotions that I can't just turn on and turn off. They're there, and they drive me crazy, and it's what makes me happy. It's what makes me sad. It's what makes me appreciate life. It's what makes me wish I did more with my life. It's what pushes me to try to extend what we're doing to other people to hopefully ease some alleviations that other people may have with their feelings on life or their situations. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of things that we don't understand, but we say we should understand. And we tell ourselves that it's black and white when it's not. And when we're in the gray, we should be upset because it's just black and white. But we live in the gray. We wake up in the gray. We stay in the gray. The happiness is the black and white, because when we're happy, it's this or it's that. It's like when you're on vacation. You should be happy because you're on vacation. You should be on the beach. You should be in the sun. You should be in the ocean. You should be having fun. It's black. It's white. It's one or the other.
Exactly.
But what happens when it's cloudy and rainy? Well, it's gray. You're on vacation, but it's not the most ideal situations. You start getting these weird clusters of thoughts and emotions through your head.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't what I wanted. This is not what I expected. Fuck you. You're on vacation. It doesn't matter what you expected. Be happy. But I'm not happy, though. Like, I want to be on a beach. Well, fuck you. You're on vacation. Just be happy. And it's like these constant just bombarding.
I'll tell you the most eye-opening situation that happened in my life. So, I lost a couple friends at a young age coming out of high school, to accidents, to suicide. But I had a friend who was brought up, and this friend had everything that this person could have ever wanted. He had all the materialistic things, just the
Right.
A beautiful home, all the shoes, the clothes, the cars, everything that a young human could want. And at a young age, you think that's all you need. You don't think about family. You don't think about your parents being together. But this person, his parents weren't together, but I grew up with him. So I saw his parents split. I saw the way this person's parents acted towards him and the way he acted towards his parents. But to me, it was nothing because he had everything.
Yeah.
One day I was sitting at my house, and this is after I already lost a friend to suicide, and had gotten a letter about I'd gotten a letter from a buddy who wanted to end a life, and I was too late, and he ended it and turned out not good. So I'd gotten a letter from this guy who I thought had everything, and it was a letter and it told me, hey, thank you for everything you have ever given me. Tell your family thank you. Tell your mom and dad thank you for everything they given me. Tell your best friend that I am so blessed to be able to be with him and got to know his kids. But tonight's the end of my ride.
Jeez.
And to me it was. I already lost a couple to suicide. I'm not gonna do it again. So to me it was. He had texted me off a number I didn't know, but I knew who it was. I thought I knew who it was, and so my first reaction, I called the cops. I was scared. I didn't want to lose a friend anymore. I already lost too many friends.
Been through it.
So I'd called the cops, sent them to an address that I thought was where I was getting it from. I wasn't sure. And so I rushed right over there. I was just off work. Didn't have time to get anybody I knew with me. Fuck it. I'm going over to his house, see what's going on. Sure shit, all the cops are there. Every motherfucking cop in Green Bay. 20 of these motherfuckers. And showed up, and they were dragging him exactly who I thought out of the house. And he had texted me telling me, I have a whole bunch of Xanax, I have a whole bunch of all this shit. I'm gonna take a bunch of shit. I'm just gonna go to sleep. Sit for me. And they dragged him out of the house, and I had showed up, and he was getting pulled into the car. I had showed up, and he looked at me, and he's like, "Fuck you, man! You fucked me over, dude. You fucked my whole life up."
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, I was just like disappointed in myself. Like maybe it wasn't what I thought it was. Maybe he was just fucked up.
Right.
And I had felt bad about it because I got him put in jail. All this shit. And then a couple days after, I had gotten a text and saying like, I took a whole script of all my prescriptions. I'd taken every pill I had in my cabinet.
Jeez.
You were the one person who actually gave a fucking shit and took it seriously. And it takes a person to just fucking listen. Honestly, I mean it's unreal to me. I grew up in a life where I didn't even know suicide was a fucking thing, dude. I grew up in fucking rainbows and sunshines, my man, until a certain age, and then you hit a point where reality hits. You start losing friends, you start losing people, and drugs start becoming realistic, and abuse starts becoming realistic, and life hits you like a fucking brick wall. And then my alert's out, dude. And that night, God bless, just whatever the fuck I was feeling that night, he texted me a week after where he's like, I swallowed every fucking thing I could find, and you were the only motherfucker to even listen to me. And if you didn't, they pumped my whole stomach. Like, you're the only reason I'm walking today. Like, it takes a person to you just gotta realize.
Yeah, but here the other thing, dude. Dude, you had friends before you who were angels, man.
Man.
It's a weird way to say it, and people might not agree with me, but your friends before you who you saw and you went like, oh, this is real. Like, people take their lives and they do things that in your mind they shouldn't do, and
Oh yeah.
you internalize that and you said, okay, I'm not letting this happen
Yeah.
to someone else. And the people that came before your friend, you got to hope that it was, yes, man, it's like they took their lives and they shouldn't have, and you wish it didn't happen, but maybe it saved one other person. Maybe it those lives that you saw taken too soon pushed you to go, it's not happening today. Not tonight. I'm calling somebody. I'm making sure it doesn't happen. And it's just the human existence of trying to fucking correct the wrongs. I shouldn't say wrongs, because I don't know what people are going through. It's not wrong, but correcting sadness that was, and trying to hopefully just bring about a little bit of life into a lifeless existence almost. Because it feels like, yes, there's so much life in our world, but man, sometimes it's like at the end of the day we're living to die, and some people go too soon, and we try to hold on to the make sure that people don't go too soon, because people
I
do think this is a precious existence we have, and I think those angels that came before you and came before your friend were like, I think my reality is going to help another human's reality.
And I mean, what it taught me, dude, but my first buddy who I lost was a world shock to me. It was one of those things that was it was a realization where it was like, you don't know, because the first buddy I lost, we hated each other, man. Dude, I hated this motherfucker for the longest time, just because the way he acted, and I didn't know anything about him, but we played football together, we had class together, we ended up, we were buddies, but I fucking hated this dude.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
I hated this motherfucker.
I know what you mean.
And I didn't realize what he was going through. I didn't realize his addiction problem. And I didn't look into it. I didn't look deep into it until he passed. And then, when he passed, I learned he was introduced to addiction at a very, very young age. 12 years old, younger than that, his mom has introduced him to a whole level of addiction that should never be introduced to anybody. And what I learned from it is, you don't judge somebody from their book, from their cover. My buddy had been introduced to heroin when he was 9 years old from his mom. His mom shot him up with heroin when he was 9 years old. Man. And I hated him because I thought he was just a jackass. He was a wild fucking jackass, but there's a whole book behind him, man, and that was the biggest learning curve in my life, where as shitty as it was, as shitty of a learning curve as it was the biggest of my life, where you learn don't judge a goddamn book by its cover. You know what I mean? People go through a lot more shit than you see, and if you ride with them, and it's important to have the backs of those people that you sometimes despise the most.
Dude, it's a weird thing you learn when you're a kid.
Hardest thing you learn when you're too young to learn about it, dude.
Well, like, yeah, I mean, it's
Fuck.
It's not the same, but I remember as a kid, like, you go over to that kid's house who was like the quote unquote bad kid. You know, it's like his birthday or something. And you go to their house and you're like, oh, like, I remember being like 8 years old and just being like, oh, this kid, like, he doesn't live the way like I live or like my buddy Johnny lives.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah, man.
and like, I don't know, like it's not like it was a reality hit me that hard, but it was a reality that was like, it's nothing's equal in this world.
No, man.
And I it's like one of those lessons you learn. You know, I learned it when I was really young, and like I didn't learn it to that extent.
No, but you learn.
But it's like you still
matter.
see it. You
Yeah.
still see the levels. It's you see and once you see one level, you realize there's hundreds of levels.
Yeah.
And that's the weird thing you learn when you're a kid, and it's when do you learn that?
Yeah.
Because some kids don't learn it until they're 18.
Some
kids learn it when they're 4.
Yeah.
Some kids learn it when they're 8. So, you know, it's
At the end of the day, man, this world is fucking full, especially now, dude. And it's just because it's getting highlighted because of how extreme social media is and how how everything's on film or whatever, but don't, people go through a lot more shit than you see through their, just who they are, than what you see them for. Like, stop fucking bugging kids. Stop bullying kids. Stop fucking judging kids. Motherfuckers are going through the same shit, even worse or less than you are, and if you just give a human being a chance and just listen to them, like, it's fucking life-saving sometimes, dude. And people...
But you know the thing? I agree with you 100%, but kids don't understand that.
And you're right, dude. You're 100%. I didn't. I didn't.
A 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th grade, 8th grade, high school kids, they don't get... And I'm not saying that... I remember thinking, like, fucking 13, 14, 15-year-olds are the worst people on the planet.
Yeah.
But
you can't
what do you
comprehend
want
that
them to
shit,
do?
dude.
What do you want?
At that age, they're just dicks.
And I don't know the answer to how to make sure that those kids grow up and see the world in a well-balanced view. I don't know the answer to how...
Maybe educating your kid. Maybe I feel like a big part of that is the way... You can't teach a kid to prepare themselves for something like that, but you can at least prepare your kid to know that not everybody's the same motherfucker as you.
Well, yeah, I think a big thing is you can't just like... I don't know. I'm not a parent. I don't know how the fuck to raise a kid. But I feel like you can't just tell a kid, hey, this is how the world is. Look at it this way.
Yeah.
It's almost like you have to put them in those, like, you have to put them in sports where the best player on the team comes from the lowest socioeconomic background.
Yeah. Or
the worst player on the team comes from the best, their parents are super wealthy. And you see, like, oh, like, Timmy is just a jagoff who's got a rich dad. But then you see, like, Johnny's like, oh, he's just, like, he's, like, a super cool dude, but, like, I don't know, I just don't understand his family back. Like, you see his dad at practice, and you're like, who the fuck is that guy?
Where's his mom?
Why isn't his mom? Let's just, like... I don't know what those life experiences are that kids need to learn.
I didn't know divorce was a thing till I got to high school.
No?
No.
Oh, okay.
I didn't realize ethnicity till I got to high school.
Well, yeah. I mean, well,
I went to school with white kids, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So, what do you mean you don't? Because, well, man, we could spend so much time talking about this. We got.
I know. What time is it? Like 1 in the morning.
It's 11 o'clock, man. No, dude. I think Dude, here's the thing.
We'll get back to ethnicity
Here,
and
here's the thing.
culture.
Here's the thing. Here's the big thing. Mental health, just human mental health is something I think we would like to bring up most episodes
Yeah.
and just bring to a forefront and say, hey, man, I'm struggling along with other people. I feel everyday struggles like a motherfucker, you know,
Yeah,
like
dude.
I'm dissatisfied with my job. I'm dissatisfied with the habits I have. I'm dissatisfied with a lot of things, and the mental health issues that come along with it are never going away. It's not something that can be solved in a month in a monthly challenge. It's not something that can be explored, talked about, and just completely looked into in a month.
It's a lifetime.
It's a
man.
lifetime thing. It's for what I'm doing, this is my process right now. Last week I called my EAP and I got a code that I can give to a therapist's office, and I can get like 5 free sessions. That's where I'm at right now with my mental health stage. I would like to be farther along than where I'm at. I wish I could say I was talking to a counselor right now,
But
it's
that's
a
just
process. I have to be
I'm proud of you for doing
I
that,
have to be
dude.
patient. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I know you've talked to people in the past, and I think that's given me the motivation to reach out and say, like, hey, I do need some help too. Like hearing a buddy of mine, a cousin, a family member, best friend, all the things that, our relationship entails, hearing that you also have talked to someone and reached out to someone helps me. So I don't know, maybe that can help. Maybe just I work for a very big organization. I work for a gigantic healthcare corporation, and they have resources that I've never taken advantage of until now, and I still haven't fully taken advantage of them. But maybe just me saying that I reached out within my organization, and the resources within my organization were, yes, it was comfortable to start, but they made me feel very comfortable once I was in it. And I hope that if anybody else out there is just like apprehensive to do that, take that first step. I encourage you to take that first step. And if you can't, and for some reason you would like a little extra motivation or just information on what we did or what we've done in the past, please reach out to us. I know that it is kind of weird. We might be strangers to people if you're still listening to this 3 hours in. But
Hey, 3 hours ain't bad.
but we'll clip it. We'll make this a clip. We'll do the HUA Crew Talks Mental Health. But anyway. But it's just like, it's not easy, and I'm even just taking that step. I don't know when I'm gonna reach out to a therapy office within this area. Knowing I have a year is nice in a way. It kind of gives me that comfort that like I can do it on my terms, but I also have like a deadline. It's, for whatever reason in my head, that just makes it a little more easy to just say, okay, I took one step, let me take a break.
Your well-being is on your own hands, and it's, I think, the most important thing for every young man and woman to hear is you're not the only one who is depressed. You're not the only one who feels like shit. You're not the only one who wants to talk about it. And you're not the only one who should feel ashamed for being afraid to talk about it.
And
this is the most, not necessarily embarrassing, but startling, frightening, scary kind of. It's the biggest step in any part of your mental well-being where you have to understand you're not the only person who needs to talk to somebody, or not necessarily, even if you don't want to talk to anybody, you're not the only person who has these thoughts, these feelings, these thoughts of darkness, depression. It's normal. It's okay. It's life, man. It's fucking life, dude.
Well, and dude, for me, and this is gonna probably sound self-centered, but maybe someone else will think this way too. One of the reasons I didn't want to reach out, and this is gonna be for me personally, the last thing I just touched before we go on to something else. Like, I think we've talked about this, and we'll talk about it again next week. You know, this isn't something we're gonna turn away from.
Close
forever.
this out.
For me, I'm gonna close it out this way, and then you can close it out
Yeah.
whatever way you want to. For me, I was nervous because I wanted my problems to feel special. If that resonates with someone, if not, I don't know, maybe you, like, it's weird when, like, you know you're about to say your problems to someone, and it's like, okay, now they're either going to tell me I'm crazy, I'm special, or I'm normal. And it's almost like the last thing you want to hear is that you're normal. You either want to hear you're special or you're crazy. And to hear you're normal is almost more maddening than hearing that you're crazy or special. But for me, just talking to this call center therapist, and she was like, I'm a therapist. I get what you're saying, and this might be why you're saying it. And as she was saying, this might be why you're saying it, I was like, oh, yeah, no, totally, absolutely. And that kind of realization set in that I'm just normal. I'm just going to have to deal with these emotions and these thoughts and these feelings like 98% of the population.
Yep.
And, dude, it did kind of suck. Because it's like you want, and for me, I wanted to hear someone say, "Oh my God, that you think that? You need to call this hotline right now and get help immediately." Or, "Oh my God, you need to talk to this facility because that's not how normal people think." But to hear, "Yep, that's normal. You're okay. We're going to follow these steps." It was almost worse. And I don't mean that in like,
no, I know.
I don't know how to say. It's like when you go to the doctor and you like, oh, there's something wrong with my wrist, and he's like, you gotta ice it for 2 weeks, and you're like, what? That's it?
Yeah.
No, come on, like I need surgery, right? And he's like, nah, you just take a break, ice it for 2 weeks, you'll be okay. And I'm not saying it's the same correlation with mental health, because maybe for mental health you need to be like, okay, you need to do some breathing exercises. You need to do some meditation. You need whatever. I don't know. I have no idea. I haven't gotten that far yet. But I've gotten the point where someone's told me, that's pretty normal, and we're here to help you, though. We know that's normal, and it's okay. That's what we're here to help people get through. And it's like kind of, it's a really, really like, oh, I'm not crazy, good and bad. Oh, I'm not extraordinary, good and bad. So, like, I have that thought where it's like, I'm not special. Shit, I need to work. I just have to put my own personal work in. Okay, it's going to take some time and some patience. Instead of just, oh, you're crazy. You got to go see a specialist right now. Take care of it right now. Get these medicines. Get these doctors. Blah, blah, blah. Like, boom, 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 boom. It's no. You're normal. There's a process. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be right away. It's not going to be within a few weeks. It's going to be months, years, and that's okay. And I'm still coming to that realization, and I haven't really accepted it, but that's my mindset of now I'm going, okay, I wish I could just get this taken care of in a night or a weekend or a couple days. But I'm finally realizing that's not the case. And that's really hard. It's really hard.
Yeah,
And I don't know if anyone else I don't know if anyone else feels that way.
I do.
But to feel like you have these unusual, unnormal thoughts, and then to finally say them out loud and someone tell you you're normal, it's really hard. It's really hard.
Fucked up, dude. Is the fact of the human beings, the species that we are, man, is you have your own life, your own problems, your own people, your own things you deal with. I have my own problems, my own people that I deal with. And I thought the fucking same way you did. Where I was this one person who, I was the only person who was dealing with my problems. I was the only person who has ever been through this shit I've been through. I was the only person who has been the youngest kid in a family who's dealt with the fucking shit I've dealt with. Until I met another person who was the youngest person in their family who dealt with the same shit I dealt with. Maybe more extreme. Until I met a person who told me, oh, that's all you went through? Oh, that's all you dealt with? And exactly what you said to me, it was like, well, what the fuck do you mean? Like, no. Like, I went through hell and back. I've seen fucking the devil. I've seen the shit. And they're like, yeah, well, I've seen deeper than that. And it was fucking terrifying for me in a sense where it was like, I put myself at such a standard where, like, I felt so bad for myself.
Yep.
And I felt like my problems were so unreachable.
Right.
And then I opened up a little bit to other people and heard problems and shared my problems to the point where my shit's not normal. The shit I've been through in my life, goddamn's not normal. Not nearly. It's not close to normal.
Right.
But I've realized, which is, it's a hard thing to realize. When you've gone through shit, and you don't even have to go through shit, when you just have a mind that in your life is hard on you, and you hear that your shit's normal, where you don't ever think it's normal, but there's so many people in this world who are going through shit equal or is worse than you are doing, dealing with.
Right.
And it's hard to kind of comprehend that, where it's like, I put myself at such a standard where it's like, I've been dealing with this shit. I'm just the bottom of the barrel. I'm, like, fuck, my life sucks. Like, fuck this. No one can even, and then I meet somebody who's like, well, yeah, I've been through that shit too, plus this.
Right.
And then it's like, oh, what the fuck? But for me, it was a breath of fresh air.
Right.
Where it's like, yeah, I thought I was this no man. I thought I was this person who was dealing with this shit. I thought I was this person who everybody would look at me. If everybody found out what I was going through and they looked at me, they'd be like, they wouldn't want to fuck with me.
Right.
And I met people, or I dealt with other people in situations who were like, I looked at their situations and I was like, God damn, I'll take a seat.
Right. Yeah.
We're a fucking human race, dude. We are a fucking group of people where, do people go through shit, man? the biggest thing is not necessarily talking about it, but being okay with accepting the fact that we're just a part of a group of people, of a species who shit's fucked up, dude. It's fucked up. And if you want it, if you want to live, if you want to be better than your situation, the only way to that that greener grass is other people, dude. Is working with people, dude. And that's the hardest thing. That was the hardest thing for me. Was learning other people's stories, allowing other people to hear my story.
Put your story aside for a second.
And
listen to someone else's.
And not put yourself at such a goddamn fucking high horse where I was worse than you. Oh, you can't.
No, right.
I want people to understand that as bad as you think your shit is, there's somebody who is okay with it. There's somebody who wants to hear it and deal with it with you. The most beautiful part about life is that we were granted the opportunity to communicate with each other and deal with it with each other. Don't deal with your problems by yourself, man.
Yep.
And I'm going to tell you this right now, Max. With the ERP, meeting counselors, you're going to bounce. You're going to meet counselors you like. You're going to meet counselors you hate. And not hate, but can't communicate with. Everybody, you guys have to understand that there's people out there who you are going to be able to communicate with and be able to feel better with. And there's people you are going to have to understand that you can't. I went through a lot of counselors that I couldn't fuck with because they just didn't, they weren't my kind of people. So it's a bouncing process constantly. All the fucking time.
Oh, it's good to know.
But my biggest thing was understanding that that's okay. That I don't want to talk to you about this. Thank you for your time.
But that doesn't mean you don't want to talk to somebody else.
It took me 4 people
to
finally find a person who I was like, okay, I'm comfortable with you.
Right.
Just don't give up, dude. There's people to hear you out, dude. There's always somebody. I'm not going to say there's always somebody who has it worse. There's always somebody who's willing to listen to your fucking shit. Just find it. Search for it. It's worth it. And if you can't, cry for help and somebody will fucking find you, dude. That's the reason why human beings are here, is to help each other out. It's just find the right one, man.
Yeah. No,
goddamn.
Beautiful. That was beautiful. And
Jesus Christ, I feel like I'm fucking.
No, I think no, what you said was spot on, and I think one of the things I want to just make sure we reiterate is that everyone goes through things differently, and whether you think you're going through something that you should be able to deal with by yourself.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, you're like, you want to talk to someone about it. Don't think you should be able to go through everything on your own, or think that your life is not worth as much as someone else's, or your problems aren't as big as someone else's, because everyone's problems are their own, and everyone deserves an ear to tell things to.
Absolutely.
And if you're in the situation where you think you need someone to talk to, find that person. If you can't find that person, reach out to us.
If you're listening to this and you, for some reason, this is your fucking grasp on shit, me and fucking Max
We're
are here
here.
to listen, man.
Here to
We're
listen
always
and
here.
to help and
We can seem like a couple of drunk assholes who are just sitting here talking, but we're two guys who have been through shit, who have been through hell, who have always been very alert that life is a fucking shithole, but we're here
Yeah.
to help each other, man.
yeah, man, life is a
It's
life is a strange journey, and we're
it's
all
a whirl, man.
we take different paths and we walk different roads, but god damn, at the end of the day, we're walking the same journey, and it might look different from the outside, but on the inside, I truly believe it's the same. Man, it's just we're all connected in some way, some shape or form, and I don't know. We went off on a long tangent, and we're totally good with it, and we're happy because mental health is so.
It's important.
It's an important thing that just, man, I don't know. Like, I don't know enough about it, but all I know is that I need help, and I don't regularly seek the help that I feel like I probably should. And I'm
Yeah.
finally starting to.
Fuck, dude, me too,
And I'm
man.
finally I'm just pushing the ball. Like, I'm finally pushing a ball. Like, I finally put my hands on the boulder and started to push. I haven't really given it a good shove. I've just kind of like felt it, and I've dug my feet in, and I've started to feel the weight of it, and I go, "Oh man, this is going to be a long journey." And
But it's something that's needed, man.
but if I don't move this boulder, or if I don't start moving this boulder, it's just going to slowly sink in deeper and deeper into this ground that it's sitting on. And I want to try to start pushing this boulder, and if I don't know. That's the way I look at it. And
completely
if we
agree,
can
man.
if we can just kind of help anyone, that's awesome. If we help 0 people, well, at least we're helping ourselves, and that's cool with me, because that's what the show at the end of the day is all about, is just putting problems out there and saying, look,
We
I don't
deal
know.
with them too,
this is
man.
this is what we're going through. If someone else is going through it and needs to talk more,
We're here.
here, or even just to bounce ideas and be like, oh man, I totally get it.
Yeah.
If that's all you even want to say, is I'm right there with you.
And if
we're-
you want to
we're
talk
happy.
and you don't want anything mentioned on the show, you want to just talk. Oh, fuck,
That's
dude,
great,
we're
too.
here. Dude, we're here.